I missed you all last week because I was on holiday. Yeah, I was. So it's good to see you all again. I, I. We haven't had many holidays, Niti and I. So, yeah, we thought we'll have a break. Um, yeah, we went off to Scandinavia. I've got a picture. You want to see my holiday snaps? I don't think you do, but you have to endure them. So this is me heading up. Yeah, so snow on the ground, and this is, yeah, on the way to Scandinavia. Because I heard one of the things you could do, is good to do in your life, is to see the Northern Lights. So I'll neither confirm nor deny that. So actually, who knows what causes the Northern Lights? There's some sort of magnetism or something with the atmosphere, magnetism in the atmosphere, right? I'm not sure, I'm not a scientist, but somehow we repelled it. You know, magnets attract or repel. We went there and it was back in England. They could see the Northern Lights. So in Kent, they could, this is all we saw. In Scandinavia, a picture of the Northern Lights, yeah. But back in Kent, this is what we had, you know. I could have stayed home. I don't know if that is generated from the ground up, artificial Northern Lights. I don't know, but it's supposed to be someone's photo of the Northern Lights. I'm sure it's real. Yeah. So I know this. While I was away, actually, I was online on a bus, and for our trip on a bus, and we were online at the service last week. Wonderful sermon by Tim, and we really moved. Of course, we couldn't show in the bus, a bus full of people, how moved we were. But it was really exciting to hear everybody, to listen to the music and everything. But we also saw that there were some things we can improve. So we want to make the online experience much better in the future. Of course, if you come here in person, it's a better experience, right? The sound is much greater. Even if the mics go off, you can still hear us, yeah? So, but we're going to improve it, yeah? Many of you would have heard that there's a cost of living crisis. Have you? Yeah. So a lot of people in the country are meeting serious challenges, which I'm sure in our community as well, we have those challenges. So for me, cost of living crisis is not a new thing. Yeah, I grew up, well, actually, I lie. In Ghana, I was kind of well off, well-to-do. But coming here as a teenager, since I was a teenager, it's been a struggle every year what to do. And I understood very clearly the concept of opportunity cost. Yeah, so you can do one thing at the cost of another. Maybe it's not clear. So as a family, we made a conscious decision. We couldn't do everything. We couldn't have many family holidays. So I can count on one hand, maybe, the family holidays we've had. To Cornwall, Dublin, to Austria for the Peace Starts With Me. So but we have holidays every year on workshops and family camp, and we create incredible memories there. And that serves two purposes. We keep the connection with the movement, our church, especially our children kept a connection with their friends in church. So we made a conscious decision, even though we're way outside London, almost near France, we still came as much as we could, and we still do, and you can tell from today how much a struggle that is, to come in every Sunday to connect with you and with brothers and sisters here. Because without that connection, really, who are we, you know? And of course, we will make friends elsewhere, at work or with our neighbors and everything, but how valuable is that friendship? Valuable, but friendship within our movement with God's people is incredible, priceless, yeah? So I know many of you may be going through this kind of struggle, but from my experience, the connection to church is the most vital one. Connection to God, not necessarily church, but coming to church, meeting your brothers and sisters and your friends is a vital connection for each of us. So I would put that first, and I would encourage you to do that as well. When the children are older, it's much more difficult to make the connections. It's the group dynamics thing, those who come first. And Philip and Benji actually have recently joined our community. You would think that they've been here forever, but they made such a tremendous effort to integrate, to come into the community and be a part of the community. Philip is actually wonderful, I hear, at witnessing. So he kind of is talking down but he's really good. But please, let us all go out there and support the Greenwich Carp team. And thank you to the missionaries for everything they did. I want to thank our worship team as well, especially the worship leaders, Amabel and Russell. Now, when they're playing here, you think it's just happened today, right? But it's the whole week in preparing, praying, choosing the right songs. And you could tell from the songs that they are the right songs. That God's Spirit is in my heart. It's like it has this Jewish feeling in one sentence, and the next sentence, go out and tell the people. That is more like a New Testament. We've been reading the Old Testament and the New Testament alternating, and I felt like that, going from one Deuteronomy to Acts of the Apostles, something like that. So well chosen, Russell and Amabel, for every week they do that, and we take it for granted, but we shouldn't. Thank you. And so financial crisis. I'm not a financial expert, so don't ask me for any help. I'm the guy who opened a business in May 2008, just as the financial crash was happening. So I'm the last person you should come to for financial advice. But there are people here who maybe can advise you. And you heard earlier that we have, making ends meet, as the term implies, is not always about making more money, but making things work. So you heard earlier about our Volunteer Day program. And this is an idea that we support each other. If you have something you can give to another person, that will help them save on something, so we can all come together. In Acts of the Apostles 2:44, it says, all the believers were together and had everything in common. So Jesus has ascended, the apostles have come together, what are we going to do? And in the beginnings of the church, they came together and said, everything is in common. We are all in it together. It goes on to say in 45, they sold property and possessions to give to anyone who had need. So yeah, I'm putting my house on the market. But we have we have more advantages than we imagine. In the past, lots of sacrifices were made. Even in the beginnings of our movement, lots of sacrifices were made. So please look out for each other, support each other as much as we can. But one advice I would give from reading Numbers and Deuteronomy is that if you imagine the Israelites wandering in the desert for 40 years, no way to make an income. They had livestock with them walking, but they had no water, no food. Yet every day God provided for them manna and quail and water. Every day for 40 years. All they had to do was follow God's command. Obey God. Make an offering to God. Now, if we make our offering to God, will God not also take care of us? So I encourage you, maybe sometimes it's difficult, but make your offerings to God. God will look after you. I sincerely believe that. It would be like a miracle to you. Now, that was just my introduction, and this is my sermon, so you'll be happy to. It's going to be short from now. So really, who am I? Yeah, if you ask my wife who I am, she'd probably tell you one thing. I wouldn't ask. No. If I ask my children, they'll probably say something totally different. Yeah. And each one of you may give a different answer about who I am. Yeah, so somebody said, we are like, there's thousands of versions of us walking out there. Anybody you meet and encounter and have some relationship with has an impression of who you are. Which version is I? If I should start talking about who I am, you'd probably wonder, who is he talking about? Yeah, because I think I know myself, I think, more than anybody else. So if I were to share my innermost, deepest feelings and thoughts, you'd be depressed, first of all, sometimes. Sometimes I'm funny. But, you would not recognize me as you understand me. Why does it matter who I am, who you are? Well, we are always concerned what people think of us, isn't it? So if people think there's something wrong with us, or we are bad, we want to either disprove them or, well, they say we are bad, so we're going to be bad anyway. So it does matter what people think of you. Well, it matters to you, to me anyway. It matters to me. We always want to live up to or against whatever people think of us. But if you constantly portray somebody as bad or no good, they probably will be put down, they will be depressed, and they may end up living down to your expectations. I have one quote from the Bible today. It's Matthew 16, 13 to 19. I only have 13 to 14 there, so you have to remember the rest. Now, when Jesus came into the district of Caesarea Philippi, he asked his disciples, "Who do people say that the Son of Man is?" So Jesus himself was concerned with who he was. Who am I? Who do people think I am? Who do people say that I am? And they said, some say John the Baptist, some others Elijah, and still others Jeremiah, or one of the prophets. So people had different notions of who Jesus was. Jesus in John actually talks about, I am the vine, I am the water of life. He has this 7 I ams in John. He's saying who I am. But here in Matthew, sometimes it follows, actually, I'll let you have the next line. Jesus said to them, "But who do you say that I am?" Simon Peter answered, "You are the Messiah, the Son of the living God." And Jesus answered him, "Blessed are you, Simon of Jonah, for flesh and blood has not revealed this to you, but my Father in heaven." So, people think Jesus is one thing, but Simon is saying that you are the Son of God, Son of the living God. And Jesus says, well, it's only because my Father has said that to you. That's why you can recognize me as the Son of the living God. Peter gets a great blessing or commission because of this, because of his recognition. And I tell you, you are Peter, and on this rock, Peter being rock, I will build my church, and the gates of Hades will not prevail against it. Peter recognized who Jesus was as the Son of God. Therefore, Peter now becomes the cornerstone of the church. I will give you the keys of the kingdom of heaven. Not a key, the keys. There are many keys. And whatever you bind on earth will be bound in heaven, and whatever you loose on earth will be loosed in heaven. So Peter, recognizing who Jesus was, the Son of God, connecting Jesus to God, is given this identity as well. You are the rock upon which I will build my church, and you will be the guardian of the kingdom of heaven. Everybody has has heard the joke of the bus driver, the priest that go to heaven, right? And they knock on the door, and St. Peter assigns them to their respective places. And of course, the priest gets his nice abode, right? Because he's been serving God all his life. When the bus driver goes in, he goes into this great big mansion. And the priest is like, what? I was serving you all the time, giving sermons every Sunday for how many years? And the bus driver, he gets this palace, this mansion. And Peter says, yeah, when you were giving your sermons, the congregation was sleeping. Yeah, I hope nobody's sleeping today. But when the bus driver was driving, everybody was praying, please be safe, Sorry, I know some of us bus drivers here, we are safe drivers, but yeah, this is the joke, yeah. So, who am I? Actually, we could be one of those thousands of identities that people think of us. Or we can be that identity that is connected to God. Without being connected to God, if you cannot say, my wife cannot say, you are the son of God, or you are the daughter of God, then you are kind of variable, you're changeable. But if you can be identified as the Son of God, well, that brings a whole lot of responsibility on you. Your responsibility is to build the kingdom of heaven, right? Some of you will build it by building great families, businesses to serve God. What else can you do to build the kingdom of heaven? If you're called by God, what do you do? Can you just go about your life like, is it 9-to-5 job, go home, eat, and repeat? Or will you be bursting to spread God's word to his children, to rescue all his children? You can tell who is standing on God's side by how desperate they are to fill God's kingdom with his children. I know not everybody can go out every day, but you can support in whatever way you can to reach out to God's children. Sometimes it's by how you comport yourself. Is that a word we use in England? We use it in Africa. How you handle yourself in public, people will recognize that you are different. That is a testimony to God. So go out and spread the word to God, to the people, God's children, because they are desperately waiting for salvation. God is desperately even more desperate, waiting for his children to return to him. So if God's Spirit is in your heart, then go out and tell the peoples of the world that God's kingdom has come. Thank you very much. Please join me in prayer. Our beloved Heavenly Parents, thank you so much that you could protect us every day, all our lives until now. And we don't just by chance happen to be here. You have prepared before us, our ancestors, countless generations of ancestors, intertwining relationships that has got us to be where we are today. Had we made a different decision yesterday, we will not be here today. We will not have met true parents. But here we are, because you have resolved that puzzle of the fall in the Garden of Eden, and you are trying to rescue all your children back to you. Heavenly Parent, now we are here. We don't want to remain as we are. We want to expand your kingdom. All of us will ascend to the spirit world one day, and if we are not to expand here, then it's just a matter of time that there's nobody coming to this church, nobody coming to worship you in this Peace Embassy. So Heavenly Parent, we want to be bursting in this room with your children. We want to reach out to our communities, to our universities, our workplaces, everybody we meet is somebody you have put in our path to testify to. So Heavenly Parent, let us be bold, as the early Christians were, to speak with the authority of our true parents, the authority of our true mother, the Holy Spirit. Let your Spirit fill us and make us courageous, and let us be enabled to be a true witness to you and to our true parents, that people can be moved to accomplish your will, moved to attend true parents. Thank you so much for everything you've done for us, for our community, for looking after the health of each one of us. Even when things are desperate, we know that you are caring and you are wanting for the best outcome for each one of us. Please let us unite together, one in heart, look after each other, look out for each other, and serve each other. Love each other with your heart. Heavenly Parent, how can anything good not come of that, Heavenly Parent, if we're to invest our whole being in each other? And please open our hearts every day. We can never do enough for each other. Sometimes we feel like we are exhausted. We've done everything we can. But that's one more effort, Heavenly Parent. Let's give us the strength to make one more effort. Expand our heart that bit more so that you can bring about your victory. Thank you, Heavenly Parent, for all your sons and daughters throughout history who have guided your providence until now. Let us be worthy to take up that challenge now, take that baton and move your providence forward. If not us, who is going to do it? So please give us one more chance, Heavenly Parents. I want to report this in my name, Adza M of the Central Blessed Family, Arjun.